Oh God, would you look at this? Hey everyone, today we'll be making some shakshuka. It's a North African and Middle Eastern breakfast dish, and I'm not sure how traditional this is since I just used whatever spice I had available to me. I also made some errors as this was my first time making it, but it still turned out pretty tasty, so let's go. Let's start by dicing one onion. This recipe in general uses a lot of veggies, so I think it's a relatively healthy dish. It's also usually served with bread as well, and I'll link a no knead bread recipe if you want to try making bread. After dicing the onion, we're going to start by dicing a pepper. I like to cut off 4 sides of the pepper first. I will then cut them into strips, or as the chef peeps would say, julienning them. After the peppers are julienne, then line them up and dice them around the same size as the onion. Honestly, most of the work is just cutting up the vegetables. If you can do it quickly, great. If not, take your time and you'll eventually get there. Dice 1 small shallot, and if you don't have one, it's alright. I did it to add some extra sweetness to the dish, but I think you can omit it and it should be fine. Finally, the last thing to do. Mince up some garlic and then we're ready to go. Our mise en place is in place and then we can get started on the actual cooking process. I know it seems like a lot, but trust me, it'll be not that bad. I feel like dishes like this, which require you to chop a lot of things, help improve your knife skills, and everyone starts from somewhere. I'm still not that good to be honest, but I got pretty decent throughout COVID at least. Get a pan hot and add some olive oil to coat the pan. Add your diced peppers and onions and we're going to saute them. Add some salt and pepper to season the vegetables. The salt will help draw out the moisture from them as well. After the onions and peppers cook for a bit, we're going to add the rest of our spices. I'm going to use some cumin, some turmeric, and some smoked paprika. Give this a good mix and we're going to cook the spices in the onions and peppers for a bit. After they smell fragrant, we're going to add the rest of our aromatics, which is the shallots and garlic. Your kitchen should be popping with some crazy smells right now. The good kind, I meant. Once you start smelling the garlic, which should take around 1 minute after you add it, we can add a can of tomatoes. I had a can of crushed tomatoes, but if you have the whole one, you can just crush them by hand and then add it afterwards. Give this a good stir and we're going to get this simmering. So a fun fact I learned is that a lot of people use canned tomatoes because they're picked at the ripest, which is why they're usually used more than fresh tomatoes. Fresh tomatoes are only in season in the summer and most of the time they're not that sweet anyway, at least the ones I try, except for like a handful of ones, but those are super bougie, so I like to add some water to rinse out the can, and the extra water will always reduce when you're simmering it anyway, so no worries about that. Continue to simmer for around 10 to 15 minutes more. I haven't figured out the perfect timing as this was my first time making it, so feel free to experiment. I also forgot to add a little bit of sugar to offset the acidity of the tomatoes, so that's my mistake. Once reduced a bit, we can start to crack our eggs into the tomato mixture. I like to crack the eggs into a bowl so it's easier to slide them into it. Use a spoon and try to make a hole so you can slide the egg into it, and it's going to make it look a little nicer. Oh man, I'm still pretty bad at cracking eggs with one hand, as you can see. When I made this, I used 4 eggs, but feel free to add more if you choose to. After you cracked in all your eggs, cover it with a lid and let it cook for 3 minutes for some runny eggs. You can cook it longer if you don't like runny eggs, the choice is up to you to be honest. I personally prefer mine runny. After the 3 minutes, I checked on the eggs to make sure most of it was cooked through. Taste for final seasoning to adjust for saltiness. I also like to add in a bit of fresh black pepper in the end as well. Turn off the heat and then add your parsley and sprinkle it on top. to make it look nice. It also gives it a bit of a fresh herb taste as well. There you go, some shakshuka. I don't know how traditional this is, but this tastes pretty good. Serve it with some bread, and that's a great breakfast or lunch right there. As stated before, I'm going to link a no-knead bread recipe again right here if you want to try. Thanks for watching this video, and if you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe and follow me on Instagram at Weekend Cooks. Take it easy, everyone.